Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, shall we all rise, I beg your pardon, and with a resounding round of applause, welcome the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Thank you very much. Kindly resume your seats. For want of time, let me just proceed on existing protocol and acknowledge our revered traditional rulers, our members of the clergy, senior government officials, our students, heads of security services, and citizens of the Upper East region. You've heard all the presentations, and I don't intend to rehash what my ministers have said already, and so I'll just make a few key points in some of the areas that I noted, and then we'll have the opportunity to enter the interaction phase. Our visit started yesterday, and as the President of the Regional House of Chiefs told you, our first port of call was the proposed sites for the international airport. I'm happy to say that it is currently going through procurement for the selection of the contractor who would come on site to build the new Upper East Regional Airport. It will allow direct flights from Accra to Sumbrungu, which is close to Bolgatanga, and it will enhance economic activity within the region. Instead of sitting in a bus for 11 hours to drive from Bolgatanga all the way to Accra, in 1 hour, 5 minutes, you'll be in Accra. And it has a runway long enough to take all manner of aircrafts that are currently operating domestically. So you can take the jets, like the Africa World have it, and they can take the turboprops like Passion has. And so both will be able to fly in and out of Bolga. It will also enable my own presidential jets to land, and so I don't have to land in Tamale and drive to Bolga. Anytime I'm coming to visit you, we'll fly straight to Sumbrungu and we'll be here in 50 minutes. Then from there we visited the E-block at Paga SHS. Indeed, we commissioned it yesterday. And the Education Minister has explained what we're doing in the education space. And so we are completing 30 of the abandoned E-blocks that we started in my previous presidency that were abandoned after we left office. We're going to complete them so that children can go into them. We have a policy to make those that are in rural areas into boarding schools, because the children come from scattered communities and it is difficult to have them commuting to school every day. And so we're going to add a boys' hostel, girls' hostel, and a dining hall so that they can become full-fledged boarding school, so that the children can live in school. But the ones in high population urban centers, we're going to keep them as community day schools, because the children don't live far from the school, so they can commute every day to those schools. But then there's a new batch of 30 E-blocks that we're going to build under the Star J project that the Minister of Education mentioned. And those are going to target districts that don't yet have schools and high population density areas as community day schools. But aside from that, we're also building 16 new, completely new secondary schools all over the country. And Upper East has also been targeted for some of these new schools. We also visited the Chuchulga-Nakong, Chuchulga-Sandima Road, which is under the Big Push. The Chuchulga-Nakong is just a segment of the entire road from Bolgatang, Navrungo to Wa. And so my 10 is working on that segment. And there are other contractors working on all the other lots towards Wa. And so by the end of next year, we'll be able to drive from Bolga to Wa in complete comfort without any dust or potholes. It will be a first-class road, and it will solve the problem of commuting between Wa and Bolga. We are also, the same contractor is doing Chichulga to Sandima, and we're also going to continue from Sandima to Fumbisi so that we open up that corridor. At the same time, from the Savannah end, we have re-awarded the Busunu to Daboya Road, and we're re-awarding Daboya to Mankargo, and then there's a missing link which will join from Mankargo to Fumbisi. And so if you are going from Sandima or from Navrungo to Accra, you don't need to come round this way. You just go down all the way to Daboya to Busunu. Then you turn left to Damango Junction, turn right, and you're on your way to Bupe and to Kumasi. Then our activities yesterday, we ended with the free primary health care, the launch of the free primary health care at Zwarungu. And as the minister explained, it is to fill the gap so that we can achieve universal health coverage. Because we noticed that when we came into office, almost 40% of our people were not on national health insurance. It means that they were not benefiting from healthcare facilities, or even if they did, then it means they had to pay cash to be able to get service. And so, like he said, we introduced 2 new interventions in order that we can achieve universal health coverage. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund at the top to deal with non-communicable diseases that are not covered by the NHIL, and then the free primary health care at the lower level of our health system. That is from the CHIPS compound, health kiosk, all the way to polyclinics. And like you said, if you're a Ghanaian citizen, you're entitled to free health care. If you go to any of the CHIPS compound, you just identify that you're a Ghanaian, you get free health care. Nobody will charge you. But I'm excited about 2 things. One is that it will also help us to improve maternal health, because the healthcare nurses will go from house to house, and so 1, it will help us with preventive care, and 2, it will help us to reduce maternal mortality, because part of their remit is not only to do medical screening but also to check on pregnant mothers. And so we're going to introduce an antenatal book. And so when they come to the house, anytime you go for antenatal, they will record it in the book. And then they'll show when your next visit should be. So when the healthcare nurses come to the house and you're a pregnant woman, they'll ask for your antenatal book. And they'll make sure that you have fulfilled your antenatal visits. Because a lot of the women who die in childbirth, if you investigate, you'll find that they did not follow the antenatal care system. And so sometimes they have difficulties in birth. Because sometimes if you are carrying a child, you can have high blood pressure because of the pregnancy. And so they need to keep monitoring your pressure. Otherwise, in childbirth, because of the intensity of giving birth to the child, either by cesarean section or by pushing through labor, the mother can die because she gets a stroke, while trying to give birth. And so we need to monitor all these things. And so the free primary health care will help in that monitoring. And then it also gives us the opportunity to do our medical tests. And so I've said that every citizen, and I hope that the chiefs will join us in this education, every citizen once a year must be screened medically. And so we'll take your pressure, we'll check your blood sugar and other vitals to make sure that everything is okay with you. So that is how we ended the day. Honorable Adongo talked about the economy. And I'm happy to add my voice to his that our economy has recovered very well. Indeed, a lot of people, including the IMF and the World Bank themselves, cannot believe how fast this recovery has occurred. But it has taken a lot of fiscal discipline. It has taken working at increasing revenue. It has taken, working to cut down waste and all that. And that is what has helped for this recovery. Like you said, indeed the whole of last year, we didn't send any loan agreement to Parliament. Not one loan agreement. In previous years, the main parliamentary business was approving loans. This time, for 1.5 years, actually 1.5 years, until June this year, not a single loan agreement was sent to Parliament. And so it shows you that everything that we've been doing with our own resources. The first loan agreements that have been sent to Parliament are the 300 million World Bank Star J project, that is to end double track in our secondary schools. And the second one is the $500 million feeder roads project. Those are the first two loans since this government assumed office. And so we'll continue to be very prudent in the management of the economy so that it can create the opportunities for our people. Now that we finish the stabilization of the economy, our next focus is on creating jobs and opportunity for our young people. And so growth, we finished stabilization, we're now looking at growth and job creation opportunities. That is our next target. And so because of that, this year the Minister of Finance is going to Cabinet, to Parliament, with a policy we call the new economy. The new economy is selecting 7 sectors of the Ghanaian economy. And every year we're going to, for the next 4 years, every year we're going to invest $2.5 billion in those 7 pillars. But the biggest is agriculture and agro-processing, and that's where the Upper East comes in. Agriculture and agro-processing is going to take 50% of that 10 billion investment. So $5 billion is going to go into agriculture and agro-processing. And I can assure you the Upper East region is going to get its fair share of that $5 billion. So that will cover creating more irrigation facilities so that our young people, even in the rainy season, the dry season, would have the opportunity to be able to produce. The minister told you that Upper East can produce all the vegetables and everything that we eat in this country. And we're not even waiting for that program to start. We've started. We have the tomato revitalization project that is taking place here, which is bringing 2,500 acres of land under tomato production. And the Pualugu tomato factory is going to be the epicenter of it. We're going to rehabilitate the Pualugu tomato factory so that we can process the tomatoes that Upper East is producing to feed the rest of the country. And so we'll finish the Tamni irrigation dam so that the 4 districts in the Boko area can also go into their dry season production, especially onion production, because we know that the Boko area has a comparative advantage when it comes to onion production. We want to cut down the amount of onions we import from Niger. And if we put enough land under irrigation, we should be able to import substitutes and produce our own onions. And so government is going to support that. As he told you, the via irrigation is about 850 acres. It has not been rehabilitated for a long time, so right now we are working on it, and by next year all the 850 acres will be brought under cultivation. With regards to governance, he told you about the constitutional review. The minister has talked about it. Soon I'll inaugurate the constitutional review implementation committee, and their work is to take the government position paper and the CRC reports and synthesize the two, and then they will divide it into 2 segments: non-entrenched clauses and entrenched clauses. Non-entrenched clauses, we just need parliamentary approval. So those we will put before Parliament and we will vote and pass them. Entrenched clauses require that we conduct a referendum, and at least 40% of registered voters must vote, and 75% of them must say yes. And so we want to add that to the district assemblies election next year. So next year, apart from voting for your assembly members, you will also be required to vote on the constitutional amendment. And if we vote and it passes, then we will implement the entrenched clauses, amendments to the entrenched clauses. So that's to do with governance. With security and safety, I want to commend the IGP and his men. As the regional minister said, Upper East is safer now than it was before. A lot of the motorbike snatching, armed robbery and others have significantly reduced. That is because of the work the IGP and his people have been doing. And my final one is to commend the traditional rulers and the people of Boko. Boko is finally calm. The guns have stopped sounding, and people are beginning to go about their business. I believe that if this peace continues, Boko will bounce back to its original glory as a major, commercial area of our country. And a lot of the people who left will come back. Teachers left, health professionals left. Indeed, last year we couldn't post national service people to Boko because of the fighting. We couldn't post doctors to Boko because of the fighting. And so I believe that with this peace that we have found, if we continue, Boko will become what it was before. In the meantime, I promise 1 billion cedis for the Boko Revitalization Fund. I'm happy to announce that this week I'm inaugurating the committee. But even before we have inaugurated the committee, some work has started on Boko Town roads, on some health facilities and others. We are devoting the bulk of the money to the health sector and the road sector. We want to improve the road network, the bridges in the Boko area, so that traders and others, farmers can move their goods and services easily. And then also improve the healthcare in the area. And so we'll complete one of the Agenda 111 hospitals there. And then we'll also build a new hospital in Boko itself. And so these are some of the things that we're working on. And so I want to thank you very much for your attendance, and we can go into the interactive segment now. Felix, over to you.
But Your Excellency, may I kindly ask that you stay with us for a few minutes. At this stage, ladies and gentlemen, we are delving straight into the questions and answer session. In the interest of time, we are only able to take 5 questions in this session. So if you have a question, just put up your hands. Once you catch my eye, I will call you, and then a microphone will be brought to you to answer your question. Let me start by giving the opportunity to our revered man of God, a member of the clergy, to ask a question. In the interest of time, I request that we are very brief.
Okay, so I would like to...
And one question per question.
Straight to the question. There are two questions, but the very first one is just a kind of observation. I would like to thank you very much for the information that has been given in terms of this region. But one of the things I was hoping to hear, especially of what is happening in the region, is about the mining. Because there's a lot of intensive mining going on in our region here. And we would really want to know what the impact is on the region in terms of benefits. But at the same time, also the issues of the destruction of the environment and all that. This is a major issue. I think most often we hear a lot about what is happening down south, But here it looks like the information regarding the impact of mining in the region is still very muted. And I would like to really draw the attention of the government to that. That's my first comment. The second one...
we are only able to take one more from you. With the greatest respect. Yeah.
Allow him.
Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
One more question.
Actually, this is the most important one. And this is about the issue about education. In July, there was a government conference on the indiscipline in the schools, organized in Sunyani. And then a week later, we, the Catholic bishops and the Muslims, the Muslim leadership, we had a dialogue, and one of the things that also came out was the same topic, indiscipline in our schools, and how the stakeholders, most stakeholders can be able to handle that. And for us, from our side, we looked at it from the point of view of faith-based organizations, what we can do in order to be able to help. I'm happy the Minister of Education is here, and he's talking about the investment in education, and the children are also here, and I'm very happy about that. But one of the things that I wanted you to really draw the attention is indiscipline in school, because you can feed them, you can give them all that they have, but if there's indiscipline, I think we are not going to go anywhere. And it's on this note that I would like to appeal to Mr. President. You know that we have already come to your place regarding the MOU between the government and the faith-based organizations, to be able to see whether we can have our schools back, because you continue to praise the faith-based organizations for discipline in their schools. But when it comes to really allowing us to be able to do this, sometimes we're having challenges, and we don't really know what is helping with holding that. And therefore, I would like to appeal to you, Mr. President, to look at this once more and see what we can do, because we want to help ensure that our schools are safe and that the children who are coming out are really given the best care that they can need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. There's a lady in a helmet behind the microphone, so please, behind the camera, please give her the microphone. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm Musa Zinabu. I'm actually the regional focal person for occupational safety and compliance in the Upper East region. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. In line with this, as a safety person, I would like to say rest in peace to all gone souls who died as a result of in the line of duty. For example, the helicopter crash. Okay, so Your Excellency, I was so impressed during the Labor Day speech when you touched on occupational health and safety in Ghana. In fact, you said in pursuit of someone's duty, someone is not supposed to die in line of duty. You also mentioned that in occupational health and safety, digitalization of occupational health and safety has come to help Ghana generate a lot of revenue. So the question is, Your Excellency, what are you putting in place to ensure that occupational health and safety in Ghana is well institutionalized? Aside that, we are also proposing that at least each sector, be it private or government sector, should have at least one safety officer, so that anyone who goes to work will be able to go home safely. For example, countries that are considered safe in Ghana, we have Sweden, we have Japan, Canada, we have Germany and UK. So it will be interesting and happy to reflect back to know that the President of the Republic of Ghana hand over to a different president, knowing that he has a safe country. His workers are safe, the employees are safe, and the people are able to work and go home safely. Thank you very much.
There's a gentleman in a smoke to my right. Please hand over the microphone to him.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
One question and very brief at that.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Mine is an appeal. Your Excellency, there is no doubt majority of Ghanaians are benefiting from the reset agenda of your government. However, poverty, unemployment, inequalities are still pronounced, especially in the northern part of the country. We have been told by a number of people, you are the first president to do this. You are the first president to do that. I want to make a humble appeal to you, Your Excellency, to be the first president to make significant public investment in the northern part of the country to unlock the huge development potentials of it so that we can bridge the South-North development gap. I have always felt that if, Your Excellency, you do not make this commitment come to fruition, we may not get an opportunity of someone who lived, born and bred and well versed with the realities in northern Ghana to be able to address the South-North development gap. Your Excellency, during your campaign tour, I had the privilege to present to you a comprehensive master development plan for northern Ghana development. I want to know, to what extent has government attended to this document, which has all that it takes to address poverty, inequalities, deprivations in northern Ghana? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The next question will be asked by one of our revered traditional rulers. Please hand over the microphone to him.
Thank you so much. My name is Nabatanda Ngorgo Kuguri Asoba Ere the Fifth. I am the Paramount Chief of Kologo Traditional Area. Your Excellency, Mr. President, when you were mentioning of the roads, I thought maybe I was just keenly listening. But Kologo Naga Road, Navrungo Kologo Naga Road wasn't mentioned. And when the Minister of Roads was doing it, I didn't hear. Kologo is the only town in Upper East here, one of the biggest paramountcy, without a police station, without a secondary school. Mr. President, I know you will consider me giving me one of the secondary schools that you are going to give to the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The last question will go to a woman in the interest of gender balance. So I see a lady in a hijab at the back there. Please give the microphone to her. Yeah, please go ahead and ask your question. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Bariyatu Muhammad Ibrahim. I am a Zabarma by tribe. I'm your boss. Zan tambaye question ne da Hausa zan tambaya, ban son tambaya da Turanci don yau ban shati ba. Da muna use currency. Currency na yana rike da jinyami. Kudin Ghana da yana da value. Tunda aka sake wanga kudi, ba jinyami cikin kudin na. Kudin na ya bar bai da nauyi. Jinyamin nan bai important bane ko currency nan ne bai need jinyami cikin. Question da nike da shin tambaya kenan. Amma kana zagin zabarmawa kai hankali na charging ka.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. President.
That was the fifth one, eh?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, okay. Those were 5 questions. Some were appeals, some were questions, and so I will proceed to address them. Starting with mining. The Upper East region has great potential for mining, especially gold mining. And the Minerals Commission is working to identify all the possible concessions in order that we can set up formalized mines in those areas. The thing is, we have 2 kinds of mining. We have the formalized mining, and then we have the illegal small-scale mining. Illegal small-scale mining, it is difficult to hold them to land reclamation after they have finished. But with the formalized mines, we make them post a reclamation bond, and when they have finished mining, they restore the land to what it was, and they take their money back. If they don't do it, then we use that money to get somebody to reclaim the land, and we use that money to pay them. And so we're doing, not only for the Upper East region, but the whole of the country, formalized mining. You cannot completely ban illegal mining. You just keep chasing them and all that. We are working, NIMOS is working very hard. We've seized excavators, we've seized Shamfan machines, you know, and you drive them out of this area, they run to this other area. But we are making progress. Of the almost 49 forest reserves that were invaded, we've been able to clear as many of them as possible of illegal miners. Before, what we did was when we clear, we hand over to the Forestry Services Commission. But they don't fear the Forest Service. They go and drive the forest guards out and they go back into the mine. And so now we put a military detachment. After we clear the forest reserve, we leave a military detachment there. And that means we have to spend more money. One, you must feed the soldiers. You must provide them with the logistics to continue to stay there in the forest. But we will not give up. We'll continue the fight against illegal mining. But Upper East has a good potential, and mining can create jobs, but we need to make sure that these are formalized mines so that they can employ our young people to operate. A few years ago, Cardinal Mine opened in this area, and you should already see the number of people who are working in that particular mine. In Upper West, they have the Black Volta mine development coming up. There are several other areas that we can see the potential for proper mining so that it can produce more jobs for our young people. But our target is to formalize the mining activity so that we have a greater control over it than the current scattered illegal mining that takes place. The advantage with the Upper East region is most of the places where the gold is found in rock. And so it does not create the kind of environmental destruction that we see in the south. The gold is found in rock, and so they blast the rock and they process it and take the gold out. And so it doesn't create the kind of same extent of devastation that we're seeing in the forest in the south. And so that's a fortunate thing. The second question was about indiscipline in schools. The problem is partly technology. When we were growing up, we had value systems that our parents taught us. We had value systems and morality that our religions taught us. If we had to gain any knowledge, we had to go to the library and read books. We used to watch one channel, GBC, and GBC gave us the programs that promote our values and our culture. The children of today have access to knowledge that we couldn't have imagined when we were children. They have the new media, they have AI, they have ChatGPT, they have Netflix TV. Indeed, on that little phone that they have, when you give your child a phone, know that you are opening him up to both positive and negative. So when you give your child a phone, you don't control the phone, put checks on the phone. He is exposed to so much information from across the world, some of which affect his value system. So it goes even beyond our parenting and our morality in terms of our religious faith. And so it's a wider problem than we envision. But they bring these values they take from those gadgets into school. And so in one school, a child takes his father's gun, takes it to school. Apparently the gun is loaded and it discharges. And it injures a girl. She went blind. She had to be flown out to work on her eyes before she regained her sight. I mean, there are so many acts of indiscipline. And when a teacher is enforcing discipline, a housemaster, the students gang up and say they don't like him. They go and attack his house. in some cases burned his house down. And so, yes, it is a problem that we must work together to solve. Both government and the faith-based institutions. We have noted the roadmap that was presented by faith-based institutions, faith-based organizations, to have a greater say in the schools that they established. And government is not averse to it. We are not averse to the faith-based organizations having a greater say in how their schools are managed. And so I can assure you, Reverend Father, that that is a process that is ongoing. And I'm a person of faith, and I've done my best to bring my children up based on the values that I was also given. But there are many cases where children break loose and become something else other than what you intended them to be. And so it's something that all of us need to work on. And that is why even the Minister of Communications is proposing to implement a system that prevents children under 16 from visiting certain sites on their phones. If we do that, that will help to protect our children. But like I said, we are not averse to increasing the roles of faith-based institutions, organizations in the running of the schools that they establish. Madam gave us a lecture on occupational health and safety. I'm not an expert in that area, so thank you very much for everything that you said. But we've been working with the TUC. Safety is important in any economic activity, not only in factories, but in agriculture. How you handle pesticides, you must follow the rules of handling the pesticides. Otherwise, you can poison yourself, you can poison the crops, and the crops will poison people. If you are operating a heavy-duty machine, you must follow the guidelines for operating the machine. If you are going to move the machine, it is said that you must blow the horn, ping, so that anybody around will move away before you move. Otherwise, you could end up killing somebody or hurting somebody. So occupational safety is in almost every sector of endeavor. And what must happen is, in any of those economic sectors, they must have guidelines for safety. If you go, for instance, to the mines have very strict safety instructions. And if you breach the instructions, you can lose your job for not following the safety guidelines. And if there's an accident on site, they set up an investigation to find out why the accident happened, so that they can put in safeguards so that it doesn't happen again. So it's something we must all take seriously. And like I said, we and organized labor are working on that. Indeed, many of the things we talked about in respect to investments and in respect to what I said about the new economy is going to help bridge that inequality. Because when I talked about agriculture, I said that the Upper East region has a comparative advantage. Not even only the Upper East region, the 5 northern regions have a comparative advantage when it comes to agriculture. And indeed, I said that we're going to make sure that we get our fair share of that $5 billion investment. And so, if you look at the north and the south, we have a comparative advantage in some key sectors. 1, in agriculture. 2, in some places, mining. And so, if even we're going to industrialize, we must industrialize based on our comparative advantage. And so, we must look at what we produce here and put in the processing capacity to be able to process it and prepare it for the market. And so that is where the focus and the target is going to be. We have the share industry. We must build more share processing facilities. Indeed, we built one in Bupe, It was working perfectly. After we left and our cousins came and took it, that factory, by the time we came, it had been run down, the raw materials were sold, the capital was spent, and the factory is standing there. And so the North's ability to come out of poverty and to balance out the equality is to take advantage of the comparative advantages we have. And that means that we must make sure there's more water provided, there are more roads so that we can evacuate the food early. We have extension officers who will provide advice to farmers. We must build more farmer service centers here so that our people can have access to mechanization services. So I can assure you that a lot of investment is coming in. But even before the new economy, if you look at the distribution of key projects in the health sector and the education sector, if you do the analysis, you'll find out the majority of those projects are coming into the 5 northern regions to balance out the inequality. And so it's something that we are doing deliberately because it is in the interest of Ghana for us to balance out the inequality. Otherwise, what is happening is there's a steady drift of population to the south. And when that population drifts, then it puts more pressure on the social services in the south. It's not in anybody's interest. So it's in the interest of the south for the north to develop so that our population can balance out. And it's not us who are saying it. It was captured by the African peer review mechanism. The geographical imbalance between the north and south, the African APRM, when it was done in Kufuor's time, the first time the report was published, it said government must work to balance the inequality between the northern part of the country and the southern part of the country. And so since then, a lot of investments have been made. And I can assure you, during my term of office, we will make sure that we even increase the investments in education, in health, in agriculture, in the 5 northern regions of this country. With regards to Chief, I think Chief was appealing. When you read the list, he said Kologu Naga Road was not mentioned. So you are directed to add it to the list. It is a presidential directive. In front of all these witnesses, you are directed to add Kologu Naga Road to the list. And the Minister of Education is also directed to ensure that Kologu gets a senior high school. Thank you, Chief. If you don't cry your cry, nobody will cry it for you. And finally, the issue of the currency. She has it in Hausa, so many people might not have understood. She's asking, she says that the strength of the currency was affected when the currency notes were changed. And you know, the Jinyame symbol was put there, and then the 6 wise men heads were put on the currency. And so she says that since that time, the currency, the sunsum, is not, she can't feel it. What happens is, every country, every 10 years, you are supposed to refresh your currency. Because if you use the same currency for too long, people learn how to counterfeit it. So from time to time, you have to change the security features on your currency and refresh the currency so that it will take another 5 years, 6 years for the counterfeiters to be able to determine the security features and now start being able to produce their own currency. And so this particular currency is long overdue for refreshing. I know the governor has plans to refresh the currency, and I'm sure that at the appropriate time the Bank of Ghana will let Ghanaians know what they are doing about it. And I hope that whatever refreshed currency comes, will have the spiritual strength that she has been asking for. But What I must say is that the cedi today is stronger than it was in the past because of good economic management. Your currency is as strong as your economic management. And because of the good policies we put in place, the cedi is holding its own against other major currencies. And so we'll continue to make sure that the economy bolsters the strength of the cedi. But like I said, at the appropriate time, the governor will apprise us of any plans that he has for replacing the currency. So thank you. I think that's the last question.
Please spare us a little bit more of your time, because the members of the Upper East Weavers Association, Weavers Association, they say they have a presentation for you because you boasted their trade with the way that you marketed the fugu in Zambia and elsewhere when you traveled outside of this country, and they deeply appreciate the overwhelming endorsements that you give them.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we would like to call on the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba, to give us a breakdown of the free primary health care.
Your name again? All right, Adam. All right, thank you so very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic. Let me say you are most welcome home. All dignitaries of the high table and all distinguished guests, colleagues, health workers, and of course, my sisters and brothers of Upper East. Today, I feel extremely honored to stand before you and break down something I do believe that each one of us deserve. But it's an honor to me because I'm home. 54 years ago, a child was born in China, then grew up in Navrongo, and studied here in Bolga in Zamsetek. He cast across the land we stand. And by the age of 14, he had the opportunity to leave to Cuba, a place where healthcare is absolutely free. You can get a heart transplant, kidney transplant, you can get anything under health for free. That is why I've enjoyed for the past 18 years of my life staying in Cuba. And today I feel very honored because, Mr. President, today is the 100 years of birth of Fidel Castro. As we stand here, way back in Cuba and right in Accra, most people who had the opportunity to study in Cuba around the world are celebrating his centenary. And I add my voice to that. But I feel so honored because the reason why he existed and what he did for us all, when most of you, your children, went to Cuba, is to implement what he taught us, which is the free primary health care, which is the health care that the people deserve. But then there are many silent things that have happened in life. And that is, 13 years ago, Ghana received the first mobile vans to take care of its people, especially in the deprived areas. Those mobile vans, 13 years ago, were to take specialist care to the people. And I do remember silently that I was the director ICD, Institutional Care Division of the Ghana Health Service, and the keys were handed over to me. I managed them successfully till 2016. And one of the things that happened, Mr. President, was that we started in Agogoloshi and then we went to Efwa Sutherland Park, then we went to the regions. And one of those moments were in Western region, where the podium was mounted this way and looking at the mountain. And His Excellency the President told us a story. And in that story he said, if the mountain won't come to Mohammed, Mohammed will come to go to the mountain. Do you remember that, Mr. President? And I know you do remember very well. By then I was standing silently and I said, that is said in a different way. That if the mountain will come to Mahama, Mahama will go to the mountain. Because at that time, we were taking the specialized services to the people. But it didn't end there. A year later, Ebola broke in West Africa. And he was in charge of the West African fight against Ebola. And again, I found myself silently behind, leading to the training of 42 Ghanaians who took healthcare to Liberia and Sierra Leone. So at each step, I found myself very lucky to have this obligation. But it never ended there. We went to Shai Osudoku. The hospital was handed to us. And he again inaugurated, and that hospital stood above. But on the 15th of April, we went back to that same hospital, and the podium was mounted, and we're looking at the mountains. And he told us a story about what we should not do by eating fufu in the middle of the night. And I was standing right there, and fortunately again, I've been silently entrusted to lead this whole issue of implementing practically what we call the free primary health care. And I feel extremely honored, because after 18 years of staying in Cuba and after 5 years in Spain, the two countries that actually exhibit what primary health care is, which I live in it, studied in, and grew up in it, I think this is the moment to break it down to the understanding of each Ghanaian as to what it excellently means. So I'll invite the three colleagues to join me. And I feel honored, Mr. President, because history has a very silent way of recording events. And I was telling the Honorable Attorney General that he is writing history without actually knowing. And the reason is very simple. We've spoken a lot about the free primary health care. We've done a lot about it. But today, this morning, at 5 a.m. at the Cockroach, the first practical steps of free primary health care, where our nurses, our gallant nurses, did the home visits, came back, referred patients to this health center, and they were being seen without the need to pay 1 peso, marked the practical and practicality of the free primary health care. And this is how it works. It has 2 basic pillars. And if you have a pillar here and you have another pillar here, what you have in the middle is a bridge to cross them. So you have the hospital set up, and then you have the home visit people. Yeah, where is the third person? Good. So this is what happened, Mr. President and my brothers and sisters. When they do the home visit, they have 5 days of the week. 3 days will be used to visit your homes. They will profile everyone. They will know whether you are diabetic, hypertensive, whether you are dying, or you are in palliative care, or you are okay. They will look at your environment and advise you. And when they find you with a problem, they will refer you to the hospital. But then, come with the bag. Yeah. So they have the bags, and then they take you, they visit your house. The bag contains everything that you need for that home visit. Now, when they fail, when they are not capable of taking care of your disease because it's a little above them, they refer you to the next level, which will be the hospital. Their visit is at no cost to you. And please help us help ourselves as a country. Because when they come to your house, they are not only going to look at you as a human being alone, but your environment, the animals, every little thing, and advise you, and your feeding, everything. They have a checklist. Then they refer you to the next level, which will be the hospital. But between the hospital and them will be one nurse we call patient navigator. That person will take your data, send you a reminder a day before your referral that, hey, tomorrow you need to see your doctor at this hospital. They give you the exact location. Then you go and you see them. When you finish from the hospital level, you come back to your house. That person will follow up to your house and see how you feel, if everything went on well. or if you need to go to the next level. If you go to that level, to the next level, where you find yourself, it's also at no cost. It's as long as it's a health center or a polyclinic or a CHIPS compound. But when I say it's at no cost, it doesn't mean it's free for the government. And that is where I come again and I say, this time it's not about the mountain not coming to Mohammed, but this time it's about Mahama going inside the mountain, because we are coming into your houses to help you change your lifestyle. And now that is what Lee Kuan Yew explained sometime, that when we are building, we are not building for today, we are not building for tomorrow, we are building forever. If we are able to change your lifestyle, if you are able to change the way we do things, then it means we are changing our culture or our health culture forever. So Mr. President, thank you so very much for wanting us to change our health culture, live longer and be more productive. Then comes the next thing, is that you see the motorbikes and the hospital equipment everywhere has been retooled at these levels, and then the motorbikes, they will have them, they will have their back, and all the services will be rendered. Then comes something very important, which is this that we see. We've been talking about patients having ID cards. They will have this ID card. It has a code here, and in that code, if they come to your house and you doubt, you scan it. When you scan it, we will know whether they are actually health staff or not. We want to avoid the situation where people will take advantage and come to your houses and say, we are coming to screen you, and then they steal. We don't want that to happen. And we also want you to identify our health workers and give them the necessary support. And so, in this way, I think all of us will be happy, and then we'll have a very healthy lifestyle. And once again, Mr. President, let me say this morning, thanks so very much to all the people here, thanks to the health workers here, especially today in this hospital or in this health center and in the nearby community. The free primary health care actually kick-started practically. And these are some of the patients who testify when they went there, if they were charged or they were not charged. But at the end of the day, our lifestyle is about to change. And let me say it this way, Mr. President, that I've participated in the most complex surgeries in the world. I've also seen a lot of people who come to me begging for 1 Ghana cedi, 2 Ghana cedis, because they need to go to the hospital. And I've seen people sell their houses. And these days, when you turn your TV on, you see a lot of people requesting for money for medical care. These people who request for that fund, they also have dignity. And what we are doing and what you have done is to restore the dignity of the regular Ghanaian, who will no more have to be requesting for 1 cedi, 2 cedis to go to hospital, because the hospital doors are open when their health center, CHIPS compounds and polyclinic at no cost to any Ghanaian. And that is thanks to you. We really appreciate that, and may God bless you. Thank you.
Are they going to give the testimony?
The houses will say Gawuta, Ganama. They would like to give a brief testimony, at least 1 out of the 4. We quickly do that, yes.
Your second part, Mountain Mazekala, Narmane, and get it to Yella Yelmanga to come on the Buligalat Mazena, and a car a year, so by a car. By a car, Baka Palat Maina. So by cake my bay, let my bay, secret by Yara Bazuzu, Bakaka, Bamazan, Wari, and Katare, Amabeti, Bipla Zola Sazu, Lanwana get Bakakabe. So ma wana la bakakabe ti bi pila se zola sazu to babo matse pas meti zo dale bilama ama ba hala wa tare in source wo wa kata in source go pa na ba be ho mama che mi pombo me to ba saka ta hayang be ho la kaya inga ale to ko nega le be ho ti bilala ha ka inga aya ba to ya kin zi angan bala so te po zo la anta yo kona wana pate tinga zula te de peka la gilma la na ko boran la yesku ta europoen
The pose. All right, so the bag contains the following. There are many. I'll just mention some few essentials, which include the weighing scale. It has the thermometer. You show it to them. The BP monitor. Give me the next one. It has the stethoscope. And it has many other items. And one important thing, you see the vest being worn. All the health workers who are doing the home visit will come and they will be in one of these vests. So please, there's another way of recognizing them. Beyond the uniform, they will also have one of these to be easily identified. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. We are so much grateful. Thank you very much. Yes, under President Mahama, everything is working and is working well. At this point, we would like to call on the Deputy CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, Lawyer Hanatu Bogobiri, to come and help us with the National Health Insurance today, what has become of it, where we have gotten to. Are we owing health providers? Certainly no. Do we have anything to give them? Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, sweet, come. Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, traditional leaders, for want of time, all protocol duly observed. Good afternoon, Wuntenga. Your Excellency, the uncapping of the National Health Insurance Fund under your visionary leadership has brought remarkable transformation to the National Health Insurance Scheme. Permit me, Your Excellency, to highlight just a few achievements under your administration. Firstly, on claims payment. And Mr. President, claims payment is the anchor of the National Health Insurance Scheme. Mr. President, by April 2025, this government cleared all outstanding claims, arrears of about 963 million owed to health service providers. And claims have since been paid monthly, every month since 2025, ensuring predictability and stability for our health providers. Mr. President, total claims paid in 2005 exceeded 2 billion. Out of this, over 150 million was paid to health facilities in the Upper East region. Mr. President, from January 2026 to July 2026, a further 1.4 billion has been paid nationally. And again, the Upper East region received more than 100 million within this period. Your Excellency, this regime of consistent payment has restored provider confidence and improved service delivery at the point of care. Secondly, on membership enrollment, Mr. President, active membership has seen a steady growth under your leadership. It was 54% at the end of 2024, and it increased to 66% at the end of 2025. And as at June of 2026, it stands at 76% nationally. And in the Upper East region, active membership as at June 2026 is 76%. And it is also estimated, Mr. President, that about 17 million Ghanaians have accessed health care through the National Health Insurance since last year.
Thirdly, on the disbursement of free primary health care, which my brother, Dr. Kaba, just exhibited. In line with your commitment to establish a preventive health system, government has paid about 400 million to retool the health facilities to position them for the free primary health care program. Furthermore, just this last week, Mr. President, we paid about 36 million nationwide, released to about 107 district facilities for the implementation of the free primary health care. And in Upper East region, a total of about 4.2 million was disbursed to 14 district health facilities. In line with government's commitment to efficiency, funds for the primary health care flow straight to the district health facilities. This direct payment model is to reduce delays and guarantee that resources are available at the point of care for Ghanaians. For want of time, I will not give you a breakdown of the 14 facilities. And Your Excellency, to improve member experience and strengthen controls, the authority has introduced a cashless revenue collection system across all district offices nationwide. Under this new system, no cash will be collected at the district offices for registration and renewal. This reform will enhance accountability and provide a clear audit trail. Lastly, Mr. President, we have the one-time authentication code called the OTAC. And OTAC is one of the key innovations introduced by the National Health Insurance Authority to validate claims and ensure value for money. And I must say, Your Excellency, that there's a team currently in Upper East region to undertake a pilot of this system. Mr. Anor and Maria Musa, let's see you. Please be up, let the President see you. Yeah. We speak with facts. Your Excellency, these interventions represent a significant investment and demonstrate your government's commitment to strengthening health care and ensuring that all Ghanaians have access to quality and affordable health services. And on behalf of my sector minister, the CEO, the board, and the entire management and staff of the National Health Insurance, I wish to assure Your Excellency and the people of Ghana, and for that matter, Upper East, of our continued commitment to strengthening the National Health Insurance Scheme and supporting Ghana's efforts, government's effort to achieve a universal health coverage. Your Excellency, we are committed to doing this with financial discipline, accountability, and clear understanding of the responsibility we have to the health needs of Ghanaians. We remain grateful for your leadership and continued support for the National Health Insurance Scheme. Thank you, Your Excellency. God bless all health workers. God bless the people of Upper East. God bless Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Madam deserves another round of applause. Thank you very much. At this point, I will move to the Paramount Chief of the Zwarungu Traditional Area to give us a brief speech. A brief one.
Thank you. Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, I will stand on existing protocols. Thank you so much for your presence here today. We are so grateful you have us in mind by selecting Zwarungu Health Center as part of the free primary health care program. I again want to say that there are numerous projects that are going on in Zwarungu. We are so much very happy for all that. For want of time, I would say you are welcome once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief. We are also grateful for that brief speech. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on the Minister in charge of the health sector, the Honorable Kwabena Minta Akando. For the first time, I heard the president call him Akwarayame. I don't know whether if I'm permitted.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, the Paramount Chief of Zwalugu, Divisional Chiefs and Elders, my colleagues, Ministers and Members of Parliament, MMDCs, the wonderful health workers herein gathered. Your Excellency, as part of the smooth implementation of this free primary health care, we have more than 24,000 pieces of equipment to be distributed across the length and breadth of this country. Your Excellency, before you arrived, I took the opportunity to visit the regional medical stores, and the people of Upper East have had their fair share of the equipment. Your Excellency, we are going to deploy about 9,000 of the kits, the red bags you see there, and out of that, Upper East will have about 1,320, and so they've had their fair share of those ones. As the National Health Insurance Deputy CEO indicated, we have also released the population payment for July and September, and so one quarter is costing the state about 35 million Ghana cedis. And so we are fully prepared for the implementation of the free primary health care. Your Excellency, the National Health Insurance Scheme has served this country so well. It moved from the pilot to the mutual to the national as we have it at the moment. But Your Excellency, everybody will bear me out that the National Health Insurance was built around the payment of, the cost of treatment, sickness. But the game changer here, Your Excellency, is that at this point in time, we are paying to prevent disease prevention. Instead of paying to treat diseases, the strategy now is to pay to prevent diseases, if possible. Your Excellency, at the moment, we have 3 interventions in the health sector. And one is not a replacement of the other. They are complementing each other. So we have the free primary health care, which has its own limitation. We have the National Health Insurance, which has also its own limitation. And we have the Mahama cares. So in the journey, at every point in time, you have one intervention to assist you. Your Excellency, the free primary health care begins from the chief's compound to the health center to the polyclinics. And so both the curative aspect, like the malaria, the respiratory diseases, the diarrhea, will be paid for when you visit these levels of health centers. So we are beginning with 150 districts out of the 261 districts. So in every region, we are selecting the underserved district to begin with. What it means is that we are targeting by the end of 2028, every part of this country will be rolled onto the free primary health care. Your Excellency, as I have already indicated, the free primary health care has a limit. It ends at the polyclinic. What it then means is that if you are referred to the district hospital, if you are referred to the regional hospital, or if you are referred to the teaching hospital, you need another intervention. You cannot say that because there is free primary health care at the teaching hospital, you must be taken care of free of charge. And that is where there is a need for all of us to enroll onto the National Health Insurance Scheme. So it is our expectation that by the end of 2028, we must be targeting more than 90% coverage of the national health insurance. So that you have a smooth run from the free primary health care to the national health insurance. And then there are other diseases that are also not captured under the national health insurance,
such as the cardiovascular disease, that's the non-communicable diseases. And so there's another intervention we call the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, popularly known as Mahama Cares. So I have established the linkages from the free primary health care to the national health insurance to Mahama Cares. And so the free primary health care has come to stay. It is your property. We will encourage all of you, the chiefs, the traditional rulers, the clergy, and everybody. Let's welcome our health professionals to our homes well. They are there to assist you to have a healthy life. They will come to your homes, as has been demonstrated by the Director General, and to assist you to stay healthy. Your Excellency, with this short remarks at this point in time, I have the honor and the privilege to invite His Excellency, the President of Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, to the podium. Thank you very much.
Are they right? Thank you. Please be seated. Please be seated. Our revered traditional rulers, our members of parliament, senior government officials, citizens of Bolga East, our health workers, and everybody gathered here. I don't have much more to add. It is said that when I attend these free primary health care events, I eventually become like a nursing training school teacher. So today I don't intend to give you any lessons on what time to eat and how to prevent diseases. The program has kicked off, and the health care personnel are going to come to your houses. I just want to touch on that part because that's the most important part of the whole free primary health care program. The minister has explained to you how it works. We have 3 tiers of our health coverage. We used to have only one, which was the national health insurance, but it was limited in scope. It, at the time we came into office, had captured just about a bit above 60% of the population. So it meant that there was almost 40% of the population that had no health coverage. And they had no health coverage because of accessibility, distance from facility, and so many other factors. And so we had to, in order to achieve universal health coverage, add 2 more segments to our health structure. And so the 2 segments that were added, first was the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, which the minister just explained, and then second, the free primary health care program. So it is like 3 tiers of the health segment. Let's liken it to education. And so you have the basic level, then you have the secondary level, and then you have the tertiary level. So the basic level is the free primary health care that we're talking about. And that ranges from your CHIPS compound, actually it ranges from your health kiosks to the CHIPS compounds, then to the health centers and to the polyclinics. Once you graduate above the polyclinic level and you go to the district hospital, then you are entering the NHIS zone. And then we also added the segment that is beyond that, which is for cancers, kidney diseases, heart attack, the very complicated illnesses that are very expensive to treat. That one, they will refer you from the district hospital and say, go to Tamale Teaching Hospital, or go to Okonfa Nochi, or go to Kolebu. Those are the tertiary treatment centers. But now we are here to talk about the free primary health care. And the most important part for me is what we are doing here today with these home visits. We brought you the kits, And so your community health nurses and the health volunteers will come on what we call home visits. And that is exactly what they did. Our mothers who came here and spoke are the first of the home visit group, and they were referred to the health center here. We live in this world, and even though you might look active, you go to the farm, you do everything properly, there is illness within you that you don't know. And it said that when you catch it early, you're able to receive treatment and you become well again. And so the free primary health care, like you said, is preventive. We're investing in preventing you from falling ill and being hospitalized, and now going to what we call the curative side of things. Because if you're able to prevent it, you will not reach the curative side. So they'll come to your house from time to time, and I've been encouraging all Ghanaians that at least once a year, make sure that you do the basic tests that they will be coming to do. They'll take your blood pressure. There are people who have high blood pressure, and so you see somebody's pressure is maybe 150 over 110. That is high, and it can lead to what they call sudden death syndrome. You can rupture a blood vessel and collapse, and then when you collapse, you go and you either have a stroke if you are lucky. If you are not lucky, it won't be a stroke. It can lead to death. There are massive strokes. It can lead to death. And often when this happens, it says, oh, just this afternoon we drank Pito together. He was well. There was nothing wrong with him. Then they start looking for some old lady to blame as a witch, that she has killed her son or her grandson. Your old mother in the village has nothing to do with it. It's your own carelessness. You didn't look after your health. And so you must check your blood pressure to make sure that your blood pressure is within the range. And the recommended range is 120 over 80. The higher... Okay, I've started lecturing again. I knew this would happen. You have the diastolic and systolic. The higher value doesn't matter. The higher value, if you are quarreling with your wife or you are in an emotional situation, the higher value goes up. It can go to 150 and all that. But the lower value must stay within a certain range. Maximum 90. If it goes about 90, you must check and find out what is wrong. So the healthcare givers will come to your house. They will put the sphygmanometer on your hand, and then they will check your blood pressure. And if your blood pressure is within range, you're okay. But if it's high, they would refer you to the health center or the polyclinic. If you go to the health center or the polyclinic, they'll try and find out what is causing the blood pressure. Sometimes there's a reason for it. And if you can use diet and some improved lifestyle to get rid of it, you don't need medication. You can start walking, exercising, cutting down on oily foods and things, and you'll be healthy. But sometimes you need medication. So if you go to the health center and you need medication, they'll give it to you, and it will help to bring your blood pressure down. Then there's the one the woman talked about, diabetes. As we grow, your body's ability to produce insulin to break down sugars in your body. I think I better end this speech here. Okay, that's the last lecture, the last tutorial. Your body's ability to produce insulin to break down sugars in your body reduces. And so if it reduces, you must also reduce consumption of sugar. And you must also reduce consumption of carbohydrates. People think it's only sugar, but carbohydrates are sugars because they break down. They're supposed to give you energy. If you don't use the energy, you know, then if you eat a lot of rice, especially, I know people like rice. I'm not demonizing rice, but really, after a certain age, cut down on rice consumption, because rice is very high in carbohydrates and it has a high glycemic index. Okay, I promise that was the last one. This is the last one. It has a high glycemic index. And so if you keep eating rice and you don't indulge in physical activity, or you eat big bowls of carbohydrates, then you are likely to develop sugar intolerance. And sugar intolerance leads to diabetes. And diabetes also contributes to high blood pressure. Sometimes when your sugar is high, it pushes your high blood pressure up. And when your blood pressure is up, that is what affects your kidneys. And so you see somebody has kidney failure, not because of anything, it's just because they had untreated hypertension for a long time. And so the untreated hypertension affected the person's kidneys. And so there's a lot to it, but your health workers know what to do. So when they take your tests, then they will recommend what next you should do by referring you to the health center or to the polyclinic. And so when you go, we will treat you and we'll give you the medicines. Something very important happened in my office 2 days ago. The National Vaccine Institute, the Ministry of Health and other allied institutions, Pharmaceutical Association of Ghana, they came and presented to me a plan for Ghana to achieve self-sufficiency in drug production. And in that plan, when I was listening, we import 70% of the drugs that we use. But we have the capacity to produce those drugs here ourselves. And so they presented a plan, a 5-year plan, so that within 5 years we'll grow our pharmaceutical industry to produce our own drugs for our own use and for export to neighboring countries. If we're able to do that, it will allow us to procure the drugs at a cheaper cost. And that makes it easier for us to provide more of these medications to our people at the free primary health care level. But for now, we've signed agreements with different drug manufacturing companies, and so we will get those drugs to you so that if you need to be put on hypertension medication or to be put on metformin or galvusmet or any of those medications, it will be given to you. So please take advantage of the home visits and make sure that you and your wife, your family, everybody is tested. The other aspect of it is maternal care. When they visit, if you are pregnant, they will ask you if you've done your antenatals and all that. If you haven't, they will refer you to the hospital to go and do your antenatal. Because I want to make sure that you give birth safely. Normally, if you sit in the house, a lot of people, the reason why we're finding it difficult to bring maternal mortality down is that a lot of mothers don't take antenatal seriously. Antenatal helps them to track the growth of the baby, your pregnancy, until full term. And so, if you don't go, you miss your antenatals, there might be some complication of birth that you don't know. And so you'll be sitting at home thinking that the local midwife in your community can deliver the baby. When she realizes that she can't deliver it because it's a cross birth, the child is not aligned properly, that's when they start rushing you to hospital. And then breech birth, you have to call the baby, the doctor. Maybe I should have become a doctor myself. You have to call the doctor to come and do a cesarean section and all that. And so one of the things they will do is to check on pregnant mothers to make sure that you're doing your antenatals and all that. Aside from that, if you have newly borns, they'll come and take a look, make sure that the baby is thriving, and make sure that the baby is taking its vaccinations. And so that's the free primary health care level. Our sister here gave you a brief on the improvement on the national health insurance. I'm very proud of our people at the National Health Insurance scheme. They've done very well. And I want to commend the Minister of Finance for uncapping the National Health Insurance. Not only uncapping it, but he is paying them their money on time. And that allows them to pay the healthcare facilities, reimburse them for services given. But the good news is also that the health insurance has reviewed and increased the tariffs on the claims that the facilities are making. They haven't been reviewed for a very long time. And so what some of the facilities were doing was they introduced what they call co-payment. So if the health facility, if National Health's reimbursement is not up to the cost of the treatment they gave you, they let you pay the difference. And so with this, there should be no co-payment at any health facility, because we fully covered the cost. We've gone through, we've taken how much it costs to treat for malaria, to treat for all the different sicknesses. We know the medicines you give, and we've reviewed your tariffs to reflect that cost. And so no health facility on the National Health Insurance Scheme should ask any patient for co-payment, because we fully cover the cost of treatment. Finally, with the Ghana Medical Trust, for most people, a cardiovascular incident or renal failure or a cancer of some sort is like a death sentence. These are very aggressive illnesses, and they cost it has a high cost for treatment. And so for most people, even for moderately wealthy families, by the time the head of household or the mother or one of the children or siblings is treated, it would have ruined the family. They will have to sell their assets, sell everything for health care. And so that's how come the Ghana Medical Trust Fund was brought in. Now the Ghana Medical Trust Fund is providing coverage. So you will go and register. They'll refer you to the nearest tertiary facility where diagnosis and treatment are done. And then when you go there, they'll assess you. And then the doctor will give the report back to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. And then they'll onboard you on their scheme. And so as you are treated, they'll pay the facility for the cost of treatments. And so that category of illnesses will also be taken care of at that level. But aside from that, we noticed that even if they were prepared to pay the cost of treatment, there are many of the hospitals that don't even have the equipment to diagnose the treatment. And so we have started to equip the hospitals, the major hospitals. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund is providing CT scans, MRIs, X-ray machines, a lot of equipment to be able to diagnose and treat. We have secured catheterization laboratories for Kolebu. I commissioned the Kolebu one. There's another one coming to Kumasi, and then there's a third one. Indeed, the one in Tamale is a whole cardiothoracic center. So if in the Upper East, in any of the facilities, you have an issue with a cardiovascular incident that is beyond your treatment, you refer to Tamale. There will be a fully equipped cardiothoracic facility in Tamale that can treat the patients, do surgeries and everything. And so gradually we're improving the health outcomes for all our people, because health is wealth. I don't think that anybody should think that investing in healthcare is wasting money, because you need a healthy population to be able to make a wealthy nation. And so this government prioritizes healthcare, and will make sure that every Ghanaian has access. People should not die because of where you were born or where you live. Everybody has a right to good healthcare. And so for the communities that do not have CHIPS compounds yet, we are providing what we call health kiosks. The health kiosk is a 20-footer container. It is mounted on a foundation, and it's got the health workers there. And so if you feel ill, you have a temperature or something, you go to your nearest health kiosk. If there's no CHIPS compound in your community, and when you go, they'll look after you, they'll give you the drugs you need, and then you can go back home. So let me conclude my lecture here, and to commend all our health workers. God bless you for the work you are doing. For our nurses, you are following in the footsteps of Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale looked after wounded soldiers after the First World War, and she worked in very deplorable conditions, but she always treated her patients with a smile. And so our nurses, I know sometimes you are tired, and then when the patient comes, you are stressed, and so you don't have a smile on your face. You treat them, a bit carelessly. Please, under whatever condition, if your husband is annoying you, please, if you go to work, put that annoyance aside and attend to the patient with a smile. Because that your smile is a reassurance to the patient that they will get well. That is half the treatment. Oh, how are you? Welcome. Yes, what is wrong with you today? I mean, you must look compassionate. And just your attitude alone will be half the cure. So please, that is my last advice to you. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for His Excellency, the President. Thank you very much, Mr. President. You are indeed a polymath. We are very grateful. At this point, the weather is beginning to threaten. So we would like to invite the Member of Parliament and the Attorney General and Minister for Justice of Ghana, arguably one of the best we have in the history of Ghana, the Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayine.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Can we have this? Yeah. Your Excellency, Mr. President of the Republic of Ghana, my colleague, ministers, members of the Council of State, I have been given the singular honor of giving the vote of thanks. I was given only 3 minutes to thank everyone. But before I came down, the Minister of Health whispered to me that our boss, His Excellency the President, is practicing medicine without a medical school certificate. And the Minister is instructing me to launch an investigation immediately. But that was just on a lighter note. Mr. President, my team and I in this constituency struggled really very hard not to turn this into a campaign rally, because we understood, and quite so, that this is an important national event, the free primary health care being launched in Bolga East. So we didn't want to turn it into another rally. But Mr. President, I cannot resist the temptation of saying something about what used to happen when we were campaigning. On the issue of free primary health care, we had my deputy women's organizer, Madam Felicia Awuni. She is seated somewhere over there. Felicia, good. Now Felicia is a nurse. And so in our scheme of things, we decided that Felicia will speak on primary health care every time we're at a campaign rally. And guess what? Our opponents would often tell the women before they came out to our rallies that we're lying. Well, today is their answer. Today is their answer. We used to tell them that John Mahama doesn't lie, like some other person that we know. And today, we have been proven right. Ladies and gentlemen, the other thing that I want to say is that we have an uncompleted Agenda 111 hospital here in Bolga East. And I have been on the neck of my colleague, the health minister, to ensure that it is completed. Today, I have to compel him, by the powers vested in me as Attorney General of the Republic, to disclose to me the list of districts that have been included in the Agenda 111 completion program. And when he asked his people, his IT people, to pull it up, there was Bolga East, Zorongo listed on it. So, Mr. President, it is better to complete Agenda 111 than to spend money on a national cathedral. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you may laugh, but there has been a resurgence in messaging about the national cathedral by very eminent religious people. I want to say this. The money that was spent on the national cathedral from the report of PwC that was presented to me just last Friday, and Mr. President, I'm sorry about this because I have not briefed you on it yet, but I have the report. You don't build a house of God in the manner in which they went about it. That is all that I can say. But the important message is that the money could have been used to complete the district hospital. My Director of Health Services here, Maria Mahama, no relation to His Excellency the President, even though she's from Bole, right? Oh, there's a relation. Oh, Mr. President. You see, I think the President is investigating his Attorney General. Okay, so when we discuss the health problems here, one of the headaches we have is that we have a very small operation theater. Very small. So if 2 or 3 pregnant, women come here and there's a need for us to do a C-section, there is no way we are going to be able to handle all of them. We can only do for one at a time. It means that we have to rush the 2 or the additional people to Bolga, a central hospital. So I'm working with her, and I took the health minister to go and see the theater, the small theater from which we are managing. But, God being so good, the health minister has promised that he will make sure that we get a good state-of-the-art operating theater for Bolga East Health Center. So I want to thank everybody, beginning with His Excellency the President, who has understood that the powers of government must always be exercised in the name of and for the welfare of the people. He's here because he wants to deepen his commitment to enhancing the welfare of Ghanaians, all Ghanaians. And I can tell you as we stand here, look at the payments that have been made in respect of National Health Service alone. My district chief executive is here. We've never received as much common fund into the MPs, into the district assembly common fund as we have done since His Excellency John Dramani Mahama came into office. We have so much money that I can even commit some to doing big push projects, even before the big push starts. So we want to thank you for your commitment to enhancing the welfare of the people of this country. That is what Ghanaians elected you to do, and that is exactly what you are doing. That is what you have demonstrated, not only by this program, but by all the initiatives that you have undertaken. And Mr. President, I want to thank 2 people, especially my district chief executive and your daughter, Maria Mahama, the district health service director. She's been very, very fantastic. And when we got a short notice yesterday that this was going to take place, the 2 of them put their heads together and came to me, and this is what you see, a very successful program. So they deserve a hand of applause. And then also, I want to thank my fathers, the traditional leaders, the paramount chief of Zorongo, the chief of Gambibgo, Yarkabisi, Dolgo, and all of you for gracing this occasion. Is there somebody? And then, of course, Kumbosco, for gracing this occasion. and of course to the workers of the health center for your fantastic job. Every time you come to me for resources, I do understand the load you are carrying, and I do well to help. I also want to thank the nursing students for being here and for listening to a lecture free of charge from His Excellency the President of the Republic. So I thank all of you. God bless you. God bless our homeland Ghana, and may He continue to make us great and strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You need to translate a little bit.
No, by this time,
Okay.
so we'll just go into
Okay.
the inspection.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable MP. May we have the national anthem played. After this, we will be inspecting. Thank you very much. His Excellency and his entourage will move to hand over the equipment. Accompanied by the Minister for Education, the Honorable Harun Ejisu, incoming Minister for Local Government, Religious and Chieftaincy Affairs, the Honorable Mahama, the Regional Minister, Akamu Kritoletus, Honorable, the Honorable Lydia Kambalva de Kuku, Minister in charge of Public Sector Reforms. We also have our Council of State, Member our Old Father, Echane Pio, a Member of Parliament for Garu, Honorable Dr. Anaba, is working with his Chairman, the Honorable Dr. Mark Kek Nawani, MP for Nabdam, Honorable Ay3ka, MP Bolga Central, the Honorable Samson Chiregia, Special Advisor and Technical Advisor to the Commissioner of GRA. We have the former MP and Deputy Director General of NATO. He is also here to support His Excellency to hand over this equipment. As the President inspects the equipment with the Director General of Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba, I can see a lot of smiles on the faces of the nurses. Yes, they have a lot of equipment to work with. This is the Ghana we were promised, and this is the Ghana we are getting. Under the leadership of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. When we promise, we deliver. Yes. Official handing over. I can see my friends, the journalists, they can also hide their joy. When you are sick, you cannot get better health care.
with a lot of joy. More health equipment, better health care for the citizens of Bolga East. We are grateful, Your Excellency. I can see the regional director so elated. Yes.